Welcome to this deep dive from Safety One Source. We're aiming this at safety professionals, risk managers, really anyone looking to sharpen their knowledge on workplace safety.
That's right.
Today we're tackling workplace first aid kits. Not just the basics, but getting into what OSHA really expects, looking through the lens of ANSI standards. The mission here is to help everyone move past just checking a box and make sure their first aid setup truly fits their workplace needs.
Exactly. It's about being genuinely prepared, not just compliant on paper. And OSHA kicks things off with a really fundamental point.
Which is?
Accessibility. That's like rule number one in the standard. First aid supplies have got to be easily accessible, right there when you need them.
Okay, easily accessible. But that means different things depending on the workplace, doesn't it? An office versus, say, a large manufacturing plant.
Worlds apart, yeah. Which brings us to the ANSI standard, Z308.1, 1978. The source material calls this the basis for minimal contents in a generic kit.
Minimal, so a starting point.
Precisely. It's considered adequate for smaller work sites, maybe lower hazard ones, but minimal is the key word there.
Right, so if you get a larger operation or multiple sites,
then you absolutely have to step back and assess. Do we need more kits? Do we need different types of first aid gear, more bandages, more antiseptic, whatever it might be?
you need to scale it up.
You have to. It's about matching your provisions to the actual scale and, importantly, the risks of your specific operations.
Okay, so scaling is one thing, but what about unique risks? Places with specific hazards not covered in a generic kit.
Now that's where tailoring comes in. If you have unique or, changing first aid needs, that standard kit, it's probably not going to be enough.
So how do employers figure out those specific needs? Guesswork.
No, definitely not guesswork. You use your data, your OSHA 300 log tracking injuries and illnesses, and the 301 forms, the incident reports. They're gold mines.
Right, so you look for patterns and what kinds of injuries are actually happening.
Exactly. Are you seeing lots of small cuts, burns, eye injuries? That data tells you what specific supplies you might need more of, or specialized items, perhaps.
Like maybe specific eye wash stations if dust is an issue, or
Right.
certain types of burn dressings.
Precisely. It's data-driven first aid. The sources even suggest talking to local fire and rescue or medical professionals.
Oh, interesting. Why them?
Well, they see the results of workplace incidents in your area. They might have insights into common local issues or suggest specific supplies based on trends they observe.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Get that real-world perspective.
And it's not a one-time thing either. You need to periodically reassess your site's needs and augment the kit accordingly. Workplaces change. Risks change.
So it's a continuous improvement cycle for first aid.
You got it. Now, there's another critical piece. Bloodborne pathogens.
Right, because giving first aid might mean exposure.
It certainly can.
Yeah.
So if it's reasonably anticipated that employees using those kits might be exposed to blood or other potentially infectious materials.
Then you need PPE.
Correct. Personal protective equipment is required. We're talking gloves, gowns, face shields, masks, eye protection. It's all laid out in the bloodborne pathogens standard.
To protect the person giving the aid.
Exactly. Protecting your first responders is paramount.
Okay, so let's pull this together. It's not about just buying a first aid kit.
Yeah.
It's about ensuring accessibility first. Then, using that ANSI standard as a baseline, but knowing it's just a minimum.
Scaling up for size and complexity.
Customizing based on your actual injury data and maybe even local expert advice.
Right. Reviewing and updating regularly.
And always including the necessary PPE if there's potential exposure.
That's the thoughtful, needs-based approach. Moving from just reacting to being proactively prepared for the specific risks your people face.
This has been incredibly useful. A big thank you for joining this deep dive, brought to you by Safety One Source. Hopefully, this gives all you safety pros and risk managers some clear actions.
Take a fresh look at those kits. Are they really up to the task for your environment?
It's more than just compliance. It's about genuinely caring for your team's well-being.
Absolutely.
So the final thought we'll leave you with is this. Are your first aid provisions truly prepared for the unique challenges of your work environment? Thanks for diving deep with us today.